Hare Krishna. Welcome to all devotees. Today we continue Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, Questions by Parīkṣit, King Parīkṣit. Today we completing this chapter, and from tomorrow we start new chapter 9. In these shlokas, we try to understand the science of Krishna, relishing the nectar of Bhagavatam. So we start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam
Narayanam
Namaskrityam
namaskritya
Naram
naram
Chaiva
chaiva
Narottamam
narottamam devim
Devim
saraswatim
Saraswatim
vyasam
Vyasam Tatah
tata jayam
Jayam
udirayat
Udirayat
nashta prayeshu
Nashtaprayeshu
abhadreshu
Nityam
nityam
Bhagavata
bhagavata sevaya
Sevaya Bhagavati
bhagavati uttama
Uttama
shloke
Shloke
bhaktir
Bhaktir
bhavati
Bhavati
naistiki.
Naistiki.
Hare Krishna. Suta Suta uvacha
Sutah Uvacha
स upamantrita ragya
Sah Upamantrita Ragya
कथायाम इति सत्पते
Kathayamiti Satpatehe
ब्रह्मरात वृषं प्रीतः
Brahmaratah Brusham Preetah
विष्णुरातेन संसदि
Vishnuratena Sansadi
प्राह भागवतं नाम
Praha Bhagavatam Nama
पुराणं ब्रह्म संहितं
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
ब्रह्मणे भगवत प्रोक्तं
Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam
ब्रह्म कल्पे उपागते
Brahma Kalpa
कल्पे
Upagate
कल्पे यत् यत् परीक्षित ऋषभः
Yat Yat Parīkṣit Rushabha
पाण्डूनाम् अनुपृच्छति
Pandunam Anupruchati
आनुपूर्वेण तत्सर्वम्
Anupurvena Tatsarvam
आख्यातुम् उपचक्रमे
Akhyatum Upachakrame
सुत उवाच
Sutah
स
Uvacha
उपमन्त्रितः राज्ञा
Sa Upamantritah Ragya
कथायाम् इति सत्पतेः
Kathayamiti Satpatehe
ब्रह्मरातः पृषं प्रीतः
Brahmaratah Brusham Preetah
विष्णुरातेन संसदि
Vishnuratena Sansadihi
प्राह भागवतं नाम
Praha Bhagavatam Nama
पुराणं ब्रह्म संहितं
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
ब्रह्मणे भगवत् प्रोक्तं
Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam
ब्रह्म कल्पे उपागते
Brahma Kalpe Upagate
यत् यत् परीक्षित ऋषभः
Yat Yat Parīkṣit Rushabha
पाण्डूनाम् अनुपृच्छति
Pandunam Anupruchati
अनुपूर्वेण तत्सर्वम्
Anupurvena Tatsarvam
आख्यातुम् उपचक्रमे
Akhyatum Upachakrame
सूत उवाच स उपमन्त्रितः राज्ञा कथायाम् इति सत्पतेः ब्रह्मरातः पृषं प्रीतः विष्णुरातेन संसदि प्राह भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्म संहितं ब्रह्मणे भगवत् प्रोक्तं ब्रह्म कल्पे उपागते यत् यत् परीक्षित ऋषभः पाण्डूनाम् अनुपृच्छति अनुपूर्वेण तत्सर्वम् आख्यातुम् उपचक्रमे
Suta Uvacha Supamantrita Ragya Kathayamiti Satpate Brahmaratha Brusham Preta Vishnuratena Sansadi Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate Yat Yat Parīkṣit Rushabha Pandunam Anupruchati Anupurvena Tatsarvam Akhyatum Akhyatum
उपचक्रमे.
Upachakrame.
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Suta Goswami said, thus Śukadeva Gosvāmī being invited by Maharaj Parīkṣit to speak on topics of the Lord Sri Krishna with the devotee was very much pleased. He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parīkṣit by saying that the science of the personality of Godhead was spoken first by Lord himself to Brahma when he was first born. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature and it is just in pursuance of the Vedas. He also prepared himself to reply to all that King Parīkṣit had inquired from him. Maharaj Parīkṣit was the best in the dynasty of the Pandus, and thus he was able to ask the right questions from the right person. Purport. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam can be legitimately discussed only among the devotees of the Lord, as the Bhagavad-gītā was authoritatively discussed between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Lord and the devotee respectively. Similarly, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the postgraduate study of the Bhagavad-gītā, can also be discussed between the scholars and the devotees like Śukadeva Gosvāmī and Maharaj Parīkṣit. Otherwise, the real taste of the nectar cannot be relished. Śukadeva Gosvāmī was pleased with Maharaj Parīkṣit because he was not at all tired of hearing the topics of the Lord and was more and more anxious to hear them on and on with the interest. Foolish interpreters unnecessarily tackle the Bhagavad-gītā and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam when they have no access to the subject matter. There is no use in non-devotees meddling with two topmost Vedic literature, and therefore Shankaracharya did not touch Srimad Bhagavatam for commentation. In his commentation on the Bhagavad Gita, Sripad Shankaracharya accepted Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but later on he commented from the impersonalist views, but being conscious of his position, he did not comment on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Śukadeva Goswami was protected by the Lord Krishna. Vide Brahma Vivarta Puran, and therefore he is known as Brahmarat. And Sriman Parīkṣit Maharaj was protected by Vishnu, and thus he is known as Vishnurat. As devotees of the Lord, they are always protected by the Lord. It is clear also in this connection that Vishnurat should hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Brahmarat and no one else, because others misrepresent the transcendental knowledge and thus spoil one's valuable time. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of personality of Godhead. The impersonalist always tries to misrepresent the personal feature of the Lord, not knowing the science of this great knowledge. And Srimad Bhagavatam is in pursuance of the Vedas and scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. To learn this science, one should take shelter of the representative of Sri Shukdev and follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Parīkṣit without foolishly attempting to interpret, thereby committing a great offense at the feet of the Lord. The dangerous ways of interpretations by the non-devotee class of men have played a hook in understanding the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and the careful student should be always alert in this matter if he at all wants to learn the science of Godhead. Maharaj Parīkṣit asked many questions, some of them very curiously, to know things as they are, but it is not necessary for the master to answer them in the order of the disciples' inquiries, one after the other. But Śukadeva Goswami experienced teacher that he was answered all the questions in a systematic way as they were received from the chain of disciplic succession, and he answered all of them without exception. Thus, end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second canto, 8th chapter of the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by King Parīkṣit. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desha Tarine Vancha Kalpatarubecha Krupa Sindhuve Evacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Today we continuing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, questions by King Parīkṣit, and we try to understand Shloka Kramanka 27 to 29. We completed this chapter today. Here in 27 Shloka, Sutta Goswami speaking in the assembly of the 88,000 rishis in Naimisharanya. They told that Śukadeva Gosvāmī was very much pleased because of invited him by Parīkṣit Mahārāja for speaking on the topics of the Lord Krishna. When the real taste of the nectar can relish when we hear from the right person in Auro Paddhatis, disciple succession. And in 28 Shloka, before that, they here again two words coming, Brahmarath and Vishnurat. Brahmarath addressing Parīkṣit Mahārāja and Vishnurat addressing Parīkṣit Mahārāja, because both are protected by Kṛṣṇa, and this is coming in the Brahma Vaivarta Puran. In 28 Shloka, they're describing about the Parīkṣit Mahārāja inquiries. They try to himself Siddha to give the answers of the Parīkṣit Mahārāja's question. And in 29 Shloka, they also they prepared himself. Parīkṣit Mahārāja inquired question. Prabhuji will tell us in nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for setting the tone on this wonderful discussion on the science of Krishna and how we have to relish the nectar of Bhagavatam. So these two are very important topics which we get to know from these three shlokas today. Look at the setting that we have when the 27 shloka starts. Parīkṣit Mahārāja has raised all the questions and he has requested Śukadeva ji to please respond to whatever questions he may have asked and whatever he may not have asked. And then he clarifies that he is not at all tired because he is relishing the nectar of his Vani. And he says that the Bhagavad-gītā is nourishing me, so I am not at all tired, neither am I fatigued, neither am I thirsty. Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji becomes pleased because Parīkṣit was neither tired of hearing and was eager to know more. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, like Bhagavad-gītā, must be heard between devotees only. Non-devotees cannot access its nectar. Generally, they misinterpret and spoil the purpose. Prabhupada ji in the purport is giving example of Sripad Shankaracharya, who though great, he never wrote a commentary on Bhagavatam because he knew it is beyond impersonalism. So what we learn is that hearing mood matters. It has to be enthusiasm. There has to be humility. There has to be eagerness. Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study of Bhagavad-gītā. Bhagavad-gītā teaches how to live life and Bhagavatam teaches how to live life. So just as Kṛṣṇa chose Arjuna to be the recipient of Gita, he chose Parīkṣit Mahārāja as the listener of Bhagavatam. So the application for us is that we should hear Bhagavatam daily in association of devotees because it guarantees nectar-like taste and realization. This can be explained with a simple analogy that Bhagavatam is like a sweet mango fruit. If eaten raw, mango is sour. If eaten when ripened, it is nectarian in taste. Similarly, when discussed by devotees, Bhagavatam is nectar, but when handled by non-devotees, it becomes tasteless. And that is where in the shloka we have these two important words, Brahmarat and Vishnurat. Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji is known as Brahmarat because he was protected by Lord Krishna from the very beginning of his life. This is mentioned in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. And Parīkṣit Mahārāja is known as Vishnurat because Lord Vishnu personally protected him in the womb of Ashwatthama, in the womb of his mother from Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. So the lesson that we get is that a Vishnurat must hear Bhagavatam from Brahmarat and not from anyone else. Otherwise, the message can be distorted. That means both speaker and listener should be under direct shelter of the Lord, and then the conversation is perfect. And that is why practically what it means is that we should surrender completely unto Krishna. Because the moment we are surrendered, we get his shelter. And the moment we get shelter, we can get the right message. Because Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit. We studied it in the first canto, first chapter, third shloka. Nigamakalpatarho galitam phalam. That Bhagavatam is compared to the ripened fruit of the desire tree of the Vedas. And Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji is compared to a parrot, Shuka. So not for mere repetition, but for enhancing the sweetness, making it palatable for everyone. And this fruit did not fall suddenly. It descended carefully through disciplic succession, delivered through Kṛṣṇa to Brahma, Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyas, Vyasdev to Śukadeva ji to Parīkṣit Mahārāja. And Śukadeva ji was liberated from birth. Yet, he was attracted to the pastimes of Kṛṣṇa, proving that Krishna's Leela is superior even to liberation. And that is why we have to be very careful. Prabhupada ji talks about professional reciters who skip straight to Rasa Leela without understanding and leading to misunderstanding. Actually, true enjoyment comes when we follow the gradual, careful presentation by bona fide acharyas. Because this Bhagavatam is the science of God. So when Parīkṣit Maharaj was asking questions about this personality of Godhead, about this science, Sut Goswami ji, when he starts responding, tells that this science which I am talking about is first explained by Lord himself to Brahma ji. So Bhagavatam is not mythology. It is the science of Krishna, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana, originally spoken by Krishna to Brahma at the dawn of creation. And it is in pursuance of the Vedas, not speculation. So it is in complete harmony with the Vedas. Prabhupada ji tries to always caution us against the danger of speculation. Non-devotees misinterpret to fit their agenda, which is an offense. Ideally, Vedic wisdom is already complete, so there is no need for speculation. Hence, Prabhupada ji writes in the purport that careful students must avoid speculation and learn submissively. And this is supported by many shlokas from Bhagavad-gītā. In the 54th shloka of 11th chapter, Krishna says, Bhaktya tu ananya shakyaham eva samvido Arjuna dhratum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapa. That only by undivided devotion can I be understood. In the 22nd shloka of 8th chapter, Krishna says, Purushasa para partha bhaktya labhyati anyanya yasyantastani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. That the Supreme Person is attainable only by pure devotion. And when he's summarizing everything towards the end, in the 18th chapter, 54th shloka, Krishna gives direct response. Bhaktya mama bijanati yavanchasmi tattvata tatha mam tattvata gyatva vishade tat anantaram. By devotional service alone can one understand Krishna and enter his kingdom. So Krishna is repeating this truth again and again, meaning it is the essence of all scripture. Repetition shows the importance that bhakti is the only way to understand Krishna. And practically also we know it. In 15th shloka of 15th chapter, Krishna says, Sarvasya cha mridi sannivishto mattas puti dhyanapaponam cha vedeh cha sarve rahameva vedyo vedanta krutvid vedeva chaham. By all the Vedas I am to be known. I am the compiler and overseer of the Vedanta. So all scriptures point to Krishna as the Supreme Person. And that is why Parīkṣit Mahārāja inquiries were perfect. And in 29 shloka, that is where we understand the importance of the Vedic question answer tradition. Where it is mentioned that Śukadeva Gosvāmī also prepared himself to reply to everything that Parīkṣit Mahārāja had asked. So the Vedas are taught in question and answers through Guru and disciple. That is the importance of questions in Vedic tradition. Example, Arjuna in Bhagavad-gītā begins with confusion. Krishna answers systematically. Similarly, Parīkṣit Mahārāja asked many questions and Śukadeva Gosvāmī is answering in systematic parampara-based order. Now, role of the Guru is very important here. A real Guru may not answer in the exact order of disciples' questions. He arranges the answers in such a way to lead the disciple to the goal of bhakti. Example, Arjuna's question was, what is dharma? And Krishna begins with the soul. You are not this body. So Parīkṣit Mahārāja's questions are there. And Śukadeva Gosvāmī answers step by step, leading to bhakti. In fact, an anecdote comes from Prabhupada Lilamrit, wherein Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj was asked Srila Prabhupada about the 6 darshanas of Indian philosophy. And Prabhupada replied, we are not here to defeat them, but to show them how they are steps towards the absolute truth. So, even false interpretations can gradually lead one to bhakti if seen properly. Now, the Shad darshanas which we're being talked about, they are steps towards bhakti. The Purva Mimamsa, it talks about karma and fruitive activity. The Nyaya, it talks about logic. Vaisheshika talks of atomic theory. Sankhya is talking about analysis of the 24 elements. Yoga talks of meditation and realization of soul. And Uttar Mimamsa, that is Vedanta, is the discussions about soul's relationship with Paramatma. So when we understand it, taken individually, many of them are artistic, but as a ladder, each one takes us higher ultimately to bhakti. Example, Sankhya analysis shows matter is 24 elements, but soul is distinct. So leads us to spiritual realization. Even practically speaking, if you look at the insights, the 69th shloka of the 2nd chapter, Krishna says, Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sanyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisha Pashyatomu. So devotees and materialists, they have opposite lifestyles. When devotees chant on the streets, materialists laugh. But devotees laugh seeing materialists suffer in the rat race. And Prabhupada said, our laugh is better. In Satyuga, people lived simply in huts, spending time in hearing and chanting, not wasting time in skyscrapers. Fire sacrifice with cow dung, natural remedies from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. They show that Bhagavatam contains knowledge even for health and society. The Lord has special mercy on everyone. Sometimes the Lord creates awkward situations for his devotees to detach them from worldly affairs. Example, Arjuna's illusion. This led to Bhagavad-gītā. Parīkṣit's curse and thirst. It led to Bhagavatam. So for devotees, even setbacks are divine signals of Lord's mercy. They are often signals from the Lord to renounce and surrender. So what is the application for us from the shlokas? That we should hear Bhagavatam daily from a bona fide source. Avoid speculative commentaries. We should take Bhagavad-gītā and Bhagavatam as life's mission. They are sufficient for knowledge, for peace, for happiness. We should teach positively like Prabhupada, not to defeat others, but to guide them progressively to Krishna. So the conclusion is that these 3 shlokas, they teach us 3 important aspects. First is right hearing, right understanding, second, and right questions. So right hearing is from devotees, as exemplified by Brahmaraj Shukadevji and Vishnuraj Parīkṣit Mahārāja. Right understanding is that Bhagavatam is the scientific revolution of God. It's not a subject to speculation. And right questions, because they lead to systematic progression in bhakti. So just as Arjuna was the medium for Bhagavad-gītā and Parīkṣit for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, let us also become instruments by hearing, chanting, and sharing this ripened fruit of Vedic wisdom. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has ordered us, Jare dekha tare kaha, Krishna Upadesh. So it is our responsibility that we spread this message to everyone. If we make Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam the center of our lives, our journey back to Godhead is guaranteed. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.